This story will change how you spend your every second. What is a second? Is it merely a tick of a clock, a grain of sand falling through a narrow passage? Or is it a vessel, a tiny, empty container waiting to be filled? We are given thousands upon thousands of these vessels every single day. But what do we fill them with? Do we fill them with purpose, with love, with awareness? Or do we let them pass by, empty and forgotten like dust in the wind? In a city that moved at the speed of light, there was a quiet, forgotten street. And on that street was a shop that seemed to have been overlooked by time itself. Its windows were not filled with shiny new things, but with a soft, hazy light that promised stillness. The wooden sign above the door had no name. It just bore the carving of an hourglass. This was the workshop of an old man named Samuel, though no one ever called him that. To the few who knew of him, he was simply the keeper. Samuel was a man carved from patience. He was in his late 70s, with eyes the color of a calm sky after a storm, and his hands, though wrinkled and mapped with veins, moved with a delicate certainty. His shop smelled of old paper, beeswax, and something else, something that smelled like a deep, settled quiet. He didn't make clocks or watches. He crafted hourglasses. But these were no ordinary timekeepers. Some were filled with what looked like fine silver dust, others held a coarse gray sand, and a very few, the ones he kept on a high shelf behind the counter, glowed with a substance that looked like captured sunlight, a fine golden powder that seemed to breathe with a life of its own. One Tuesday, the little bell above his door chimed, a sound so rare it made the motes of dust in the air dance. A young woman stood there. Her name was Lena. She was everything the shop was not, bright, fast, and humming with a restless energy. She was a journalist, in her mid-20s, with a sharp gaze and a small notebook clutched in her hand, her pen already poised. She was writing an article on the city's hidden artisans, and the legend of the strange hourglass maker was too intriguing to ignore. "Hello?" she said, her voice a little too loud for the space. "I'm looking for the man who makes hourglasses." Samuel simply nodded, his eyes taking in her hurried posture, the way she tapped her foot impatiently. He didn't speak, just gestured for her to come closer. Lena approached the counter, her eyes scanning the shelves. "So, what's the story? I've heard you create special hourglasses. What do they measure? Are they more accurate?" Samuel finally spoke, his voice like the rustle of dry leaves. "They are perfectly accurate. They measure exactly what they are meant to measure." Lena frowned, confused. "And what is that? An hour? A minute?" "Some measure a lifetime of distraction." He pointed a gentle finger toward a large hourglass filled with the dull gray sand. "Others," he continued, his gaze shifting to a smaller one with the silver dust, "measure a life filled with good intentions, but few actions." Lena scribbled this down, fascinated. This was even better than she'd hoped. "And the gold ones?" she asked, her eyes finding the radiant timers on the high shelf. Samuel's expression softened. A quiet sadness touched the corners of his eyes. "Those," he whispered, "measure moments. True moments." He saw the lack of understanding on her face. It was the same look everyone had. He sighed, a sound of profound weariness. "You are in a hurry," he observed, not as a question, but as a statement. "I have a deadline," Lena replied defensively. "Lots to do. This city doesn't sleep." "No, it doesn't. It just gets tired." He then did something strange. He pointed to the empty air in front of her. "Look. Do you see it?" Lena squinted. "See what? Dust?" "Not just dust," he corrected. He moved with a slowness that was almost hypnotic, taking a small empty glass vial from his counter. With a movement as graceful as a whisper, he swiped the vial through the air and corked it. He held it up to the light. Inside, a single, tiny speck of gold shimmered, pulsing with a faint, warm light. Lena stared, her mouth slightly agape. What is that?" "That," Samuel said, "was a second you just spent wondering about your next appointment instead of being here. A second you discarded. It was a potential moment of wonder, of pure presence. Empty. I just caught it before it vanished forever." He walked over to a large empty hourglass on his workbench and uncorked the vial. The single golden speck drifted out and settled at the bottom, a lonely star in a glass universe. "This is my work. I gather the seconds people throw away, the moments they are physically present but mentally absent, the times they spend looking at their phones instead of the person in front of them, the seconds spent in worry about a future that hasn't happened or in regret of a past that cannot be changed." Lena was speechless. She looked around the shop with new eyes. The gray sand, the silver dust, it was all made of wasted time, an entire shop filled with the ghosts of forgotten moments. "But why?" she finally managed to ask. "Why do you collect them?" "As a reminder of what is being lost. We are all given the same raw material, time, but we are the artists. We decide if we turn it into a gray sludge of distraction or into a golden tapestry of memories." He gestured for her to be still. "Just for a moment. Don't think about your article. Don't think about your deadline. Don't even think about what you are seeing. Just be." Hesitantly, Lena bid as she asked. She took a deep breath. She stopped tapping her foot. She listened, and for the first time, she heard the profound silence of the shop, a silence that was not empty, but full. She noticed how the afternoon light slanted through the window, illuminating the fine lines in the wooden counter. She felt the steady, calm rhythm of her own breathing. It was only for a few seconds, but in that space, something shifted inside her. And then she saw it. Floating right in front of her eyes, a single shimmering speck of gold materialized out of thin air. It glowed with a gentle warmth, pulsed with her own heartbeat, and then drifted slowly toward the floor. Before it could vanish, Samuel caught it in another vial. He didn't say a word. He just handed it to her. Lena held the vial in her palm. It was warm to the touch. Inside, her own captured moment of pure presence glowed, a tiny, perfect star that she had created simply by paying attention. Tears welled in her eyes as a profound understanding washed over her. All her running, all her planning, all her ambition. How many of these golden moments had she let turn to dust? Her entire life, she had been trying to fill her time, not realizing the goal was to make her time full. She looked up at the old man, her notebook and pen now forgotten in her bag. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Samuel didn't need to say anything else. He gave her a small, knowing smile. Lena left the shop that day, but she didn't rush back to the office. She walked. She noticed the deep blue of the evening sky taking over from the orange of the sunset. She heard the distant laughter of children playing in a park. She felt the cool breeze on her skin. She was no longer just passing through the world, she was a part of it. Every second was no longer a tick to be beaten, but a space to be lived in. The richest life is not measured in years, but in the attention we give to the moments within them.